Have you noticed how an avoidant man's behavior feels scripted? One moment he's magnetic, the next he's distant and cold. You wonder if it's something you did, but it isn't. It's a cycle, a pattern, a game he doesn't even realize he's playing. And unless you see it for what it is, you'll always feel like you're losing, not because you're weak, but because you haven't yet flipped the script. Today, I'll share 8 ways to outsmart an avoidant man's games, not by hardening, but by becoming wiser, not by losing yourself, but by standing taller in who you are. As Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Avoidant men run unconscious patterns. Once you see them, you free yourself. Flip his labels into strength. Avoidant men often use words as weapons. You're too emotional. You're too clingy. You're too much. These words sting, especially when repeated. You start to believe them. You second-guess your worth. You wonder if maybe you really are too much. But here's the reality. Those labels are not truths. They are shields, excuses, ways of protecting himself from the very intimacy he craves, but fears. When he says you're too emotional, what he really means is, your feelings make me face the vulnerability I've spent my whole life running from. When he says you're too much, what he really means is, your depth exposes how little I actually give back. So, what do? You flip the labels. Yes, I feel deeply because love without feelings is empty. Yes, I'm intense because surface-level connection doesn't move souls. The chef never apologizes for flavor. The artist never apologizes for color. And you never need to apologize for depth. What he tries to use against you becomes your crown. Because the truth is this, what he calls too much is exactly what makes you unforgettable. See through the scarcity game. Avoidant men give affection in fragments. A random good morning text after days of silence. A fleeting hug that feels half-hearted. A moment of warmth that vanishes the second you lean in. And here's the trick. They act like these crumbs are diamonds. They want you to believe their rare attention is the most valuable thing in the world. That you're lucky to get even a little. So you hold on to it, you treasure it, you mistake scarcity for worth. But the truth? They are not offering you gold, they are offering you pennies and convincing you they are priceless. To outsmart this game, you have to flip the scarcity. Stop treating his crumbs like treasure. Start seeing your own energy, your presence, your love as the prize, your laughter, your creativity, your care. These are not small things, they are abundance. When your life is full, with friends, hobbies, passions, you realize he is not the one providing abundance, you are. And suddenly, his rare affection loses its shine, because the illusion of scarcity only works if you forget your own worth. Break the reward cycle. Here's the hard truth. Avoidant men keep playing games because women unknowingly reward them for it. He disappears for days. You ache, you wait, you overthink. Then, out of nowhere, he sends a casual, "Hey, what's up?" And your heart leaps. You reply instantly, relieved that he remembered you exist. But in that moment, you reward inconsistency. You teach him, I can vanish whenever I want, and she'll always welcome me back. To outsmart him, you must break the cycle. Don't treat the bare minimum like a grand gesture. Don't hand out rewards for silence followed by crumbs. Consistency is the only currency of real connection. If he's not consistent, stop acting as if he is. This doesn't mean being cruel, it means being clear. It means refusing to build a palace on quicksand. When you stop rewarding crumbs, he has 2 choices: step up or step aside. Either way, you win. Mirror his distance calmly. Avoidant men thrive on reactions. When they pull away, they expect either desperate clinging or angry explosions. Both prove something to him, Either she needs me too much, or I was right, she's unstable. But here's how you outsmart him. You mirror his distance, calmly. If he takes a step back, you take one too. Not with bitterness, not with tears, with quiet strength. Think of it like a mirror. His actions are reflected back to him, but without poison. This unsettles him. Because avoidant men are used to chaos, they are trained for drama. But serenity? Indifference? That's a language they don't know how to play against. Your calm is not weakness, it's power. And when you hold your ground with dignity, his distance loses its ability to control you. Let him feel replaceable. An avoidant man often acts like you'll wait forever. Like no matter how many times he pulls away, you'll still be sitting there when he returns. That comfort gives him boldness. It makes him feel he has all the time in the world to keep you half in, half out. To outsmart him, you must quietly remind him, you are not replaceable, but you can be replaced. Not through jealousy games or empty threats, but by living fully, by choosing joy that has nothing to do with him. Say yes to new hobbies. Say yes to new adventures. Say yes to people who actually show up. When he sees you thriving, his comfort cracks. Because his deepest fear is not intimacy, it's being forgotten. And nothing wakes an avoidant man faster than realizing the woman he took for granted is no longer waiting. Control the frame, not just the space. You've probably heard the advice, just give him space. But here's the trap. If you sit waiting for him to return, he still controls the story. He decides when there is closeness. He decides when there is silence. You're left dancing to his rhythm. Outsmart him by shifting the frame entirely. If he pulls away, don't freeze. Don't wait. Pour your energy into your own life, your own passions, your own story. Think of it like tennis. If he drops the ball and walks off, you don't stand there staring at the empty court. You pick up another ball and keep playing your own game. When you do this, you send a powerful message. My life doesn't pause when you disappear. And that's the one frame he can't control. Decide before he does. Avoidant men love the gray space, not fully in, not fully out. They thrive in, maybe. It keeps you stuck, hoping, waiting, holding onto a future that never comes. But here's the truth. You don't need his decision to make your own. If his pattern is clear, if he's inconsistent, if he's distant, if he leaves you guessing, you already have your answer. So decide before he does. Decide what's acceptable. Decide what's not. And if his cycle isn't what you want, walk away first. This isn't about cruelty. It's about dignity. It's about saying, I refuse to be strung along. When you choose your path instead of waiting for his, you take your story back. You walk away, not discarded, but empowered. Let his silence speak for him. Avoidant men use silence like a weapon. They believe it keeps you doubting, questioning, chasing. When you stop fearing his silence, you free yourself. You no longer read it as rejection. You read it as clarity. Proof of who he is, and proof that you are meant for more. Silence becomes not emptiness, but closure, not abandonment, but revelation. And in that revelation you realize the silence that once felt like power is actually his weakness. And your strength is the decision not to fight it, but to walk beyond it. These aren't tricks, they're truths. They're not about playing his game, they're about ending it. Because an avoidant man only has power as long as you remain unaware. But once you see the pattern, you outgrow it. And when you outgrow it, you discover something extraordinary. The real prize was never his closeness. The real prize was your freedom, your dignity, your love for yourself.